looking for group strats or LFG strats. They were the ones that actually almost took down Unitas earlier in the day. And they had some really interesting strategies because they are the team that could play that double mage or the warrior mage, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if Mad Dog, who already lost a series, are able to pull it back, because I mean they're one of those teams you expect to be qualifying to that grand final no matter what, right?
Yeah, no, I've been really looking forward to this team. I've been friends with Fresh for a good amount of time, Fresh and Oxygen, so I want to see them do well. And they've been playing with Form Rage, and they've been doing well on ladder. I've watched them play a lot, and I honestly think that I would put them as favored in this matchup. I will put it in Jungle Cleave's favor up against this Arcane-Mage Warrior Wrestler Druid. I mean, I've watched him play a lot.
I think most people would.
Right,
Jungle
exactly.
Cleave is pretty damn strong right now, and Yoski
No, it is very weak. It needs huge buffs. Please.
It's only weak against Shadow Priest, Disc Priest, Mage. That's what I hear.
No, it's only good against bad American players, right? That's why I only won against NA teams, buff jungle.
But anyways, Yoski Form Rage.
I don't think these are their main characters. They actually just have Alliance alts because they've been mainly playing on Horde when I've seen them queue. And nice to be able to have Alliance characters when you're going to PQ in that tournament setting, because having a human racial is really huge for Discipline Priest, and the Night Elf is huge for Feral Druids, so that's a really good advantage for them coming in this matchup right now. And I think they're going to look for that opener onto Cheesy Nacho, and they found him out with a Mass Dispel, so that is a huge play from Oxygen, just catching him out of stealth with that. Now they have that full rake, get the full trap, and they have a half wyvern out of that. They have a lot of damage going out onto Cheesy Nacho right now. Actually, I think that was just a war-bannered wyvern, not a half wyvern, so still a lot of damage in that opener right now. They still have their Incarn available. They just use Form Rage's artifact right there, and they're trying to keep that really high pressure onto Cheesy Nacho right now. And if they can force the Iron Bark from Paperboy right here, I think they can really close out this game quickly and have that arcane power going out there, but really not going to get much damage out there. Their entire team is staying offensive. They have a full bash onto Paperboy, looking to follow it up with the trap. Yaski's not going to be able to get it out there. They have the Incar being popped, trading out with the Tree of Life from Paperboy, trying to keep his team offensive. But I mean, if they get any CC onto Paperboy right here, I think it is going to be very, very scary for Cheesy Nacho. Yaski's pushing in, tries to disengage on there, but you know, Warbanner has actually done a great job of just delaying this go from Yaski. He's made it really difficult for him to connect, and now they do have that full trap. They have the Spider Sting onto Cheesy Nacho. He has the temporal shield up, so he is going to be able to get himself topped off, but they have a lot of damage going out here. I feel like the pressure is looking to be really good in favor of the Mad Dogs as far as a long game goes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, you've got to give Mad Dogs the composition advantage, but you have to give huge credit to Cheesy Nacho, because that was the incarnation being traded on both sides, but they didn't even have to use the Iron Bark as consequence of that because of a beautiful temporal shield and those delays you said from the warrior. Now Cheesy Nacho behind the pillar once again, he's just doing a great job of kiting Yoski, who is also used as offensive cooldowns. And honestly, you've got to think again about these win conditions. If the warrior mage can play a long game, Oxygen's likely to run out of mana first. That's what the Discipline Priest's main weakness is. And they've been doing a good job so far. We see another beautiful temporal shield preemptively. If they can keep denying Yoski using the warrior to getting those traps, it's going to be really hard for them to get the pressure, and it's been working very well for the warrior mage druid thus far.
Yeah, actually, this Warriors play has impressed me probably the most in this tournament. He actually seems really disruptive. We even saw up against, when he was playing against Poon, he was always getting these reflects on these coils, and he's been, so much damage going out onto Cheesy Nacho right now, though he has no temporal shield, so that Iron Bark has to be used along with the artifact from Paperboy. He's trying to top off Cheesy Nacho right here, but yeah, again, Warbanner, super disruptive. He's making these goes take so long from Yoski, making it actually difficult for him to connect with that CC onto Paperboy. I'd like to say I want to see them probably have to swap a little bit more onto Paperboy, just because of the way this warrior has delayed the game. He's made it really hard for him to kind of completely focus on chasing Cheesy Nacho. And when that happens, I think you just have to swap your target a little bit as that jungle cleave.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they need to swap it up a little bit. The Restoration Druid seems to be having an easy time right now, honestly. I mean, still haven't forced that ice block. Cheesy Nacho doing a great job kiting around. You can see, once again, he's kiting back to his healer, and he'll just be able to displace back if they can't get the purge on that across the map. He gets kicked! That's dangerous. When you get kicked as an arcane mage, you can't really use anything, and now he's going to have to ice block. We see the Master Spell being casted! Cheesy Nacho in trouble, turning to dangerously close to dying there.
Oh, and they cleave out the Vim from Paperboy. This is where things are scary. They have the full wyvern right now onto him, and now Cheesy Nacho surely will go down here. There's no way he lives. He has nothing left. He's at 10% HP. Yoski gets a bursting shot, and the game is going to end right there.
It's scary stuff playing against the jungle cleave. You have to give big credit to Cheesy Nacho, because at the start of that game, he got absolutely destroyed. It looked like he was just going to die in 10 seconds. Like he dropped to like 5% immediately, but they didn't trade out the Ironbark for the longest time. They matched the Incarnation well. They line of sighted the True Shot aura. But at the end of the day, I really do think the Jungle Cleave, no matter what you say, Dill, has a slight advantage. It
definitely does not.
It really paid in that game.
No, for sure. I think Jungle's gonna do well there. I think as soon as they cleaved off Vim and Vigor, because that's what Paperboy, I think that's the druid. Yeah, Paperboy was playing Vim and Vigor, so they cleaved it off a little bit, and then once they got CC with it cleaved off, that's when it was just impossible for Cheesy Nacho to actually live. I think having that with the druid HOTS there, and Oxygen's in the position where it's early on and he can't really purge off every single hawk just because it's too many globals, that's when they actually start to fall behind if they get that extra pressure onto Cheesy Nacho, onto Paperboy. Yep, both good names.
I mean, for what I love their names as well. These guys, like, they're the best. Like Paperboy, it's even spelled with the I, it's like the perfect thing. And Cheesy Nacho, like, I don't know. For a lot of that game, I was going to start like by saying that he was more like a cheesy slice of butter because they were just cutting through him so easily. But actually, for a bit, he was like a cheesy pita bread or something. I don't know, like a little bit tighter, a little bit
Adrian.
Tougher. Still not quite enough. Like the Pharaoh.
It's 7 a.m. I can't deal with this.
You're tempting fate, Dilly. You can't call yourself Cheesy Nacho against a druid. They're just going to ferociously bite you. Like, I would as well. It's food at the end of the day, right?
Adrian.
I don't know. You can't do it, but either way, bad puns aside, we've got Yoski and of course his new team, and we haven't talked so much about the story of these guys, right? Like Mad Dogs, two of them have played before. Like these guys
Fresh
are very well known within like Fresh, especially. He's known Fresca as someone that's been in these tournaments quite often, right? Like he's been qualifying to the APEC region, and having someone like Yosuke on your roster who has all that experience, has played in the North America region for so long, is a huge pickup. And not only in terms of experience, it also makes sense for their compositions, right? Like now they've got the Rat Hunter, they've got this Jungle Cleave, and that's the type of stuff which makes you wonder, how do they even drop down to the lower bracket in the first place? Like someone must have played really well to beat them.
It was
it was that enhancement team.
Yep.
Exactly.
And honestly, I'm actually not too surprised after watching their last games, because I know that they have the Windwalker enhanced, and I know that they have the Prot Warrior Turbos. I think they have enough good comps that I think they could give it a difficult run for Jungle Cleave, especially if it was going back and forth, because I think that this Prot comps can be annoying for jungle, but then they have a Red Hunter which can beat that, and then I think the Red Hunter loses to his enhanced. So it probably was just came to one of those series that comes down to a blind pick, right? We didn't get to watch it, but I would assume it came down to the first game or someone lost the wrong pick, right? And then from there, just going back and forth. That's what I would have expected.
It's one of those things. I mean, that's often something you see when people can run jungle in PHP as well. Like they're definitely good into different things. Of course, jungle being the Feral Druid form range, and Fresh playing that Retribution Paladin famously from the Australia region. Now, of course, 1-0 favor for Mad Dogs. Yoski in his first game on broadcast in Australia, able to pick up the win. But Cheesy Nacho has chosen the big map. He's chosen
opening sheep onto Oxygen, though. Goes through it out of the Mass and Biz right there. So trying to get that really early opening pressure. They're going to go for that Arcane Power right now. And I like that you're using the Undispellable Roots right now onto War Banner, by the way. Just making it so that he can't really get that pressure or get any peels out in the opener. And this is really, really good using this map, too, I actually feel like, for using the Undispellable Roots on the Warrior, because it makes it so that even though the Arcane Mage can kite a lot, the Warrior actually won't be able to peel as much as he was in that first game. So now they're making a swap on a Paperboy, really pressuring him really hard for playing that Vim and Vigor. Now get a lot of damage onto him. They have him in tree form. They have Bark Skin, Iron Bark used. They haven't forced the Trinket, but there's so much damage going out onto him with this Incarnation and True Shot. And I think this is what the Jungle Cleave wants to do with their offensive cooldowns. They want to put this Rusted Druid behind. They want to make it difficult for him and then go for a CC chain. I mean, they have a Bursting Trap coming up very, very soon. War Banner shouldn't be able to peel. He has no Trinket. He has no Blade Storm. So if they do catch him in that full route too, he's not going to be able to do anything for his teammates. And Yaski lands the full trap. Damage goes out on Cheesy Nacho. Temporal Shield gets purged off instantly from Oxygen, trying to get a lot of damage onto him. And there's the Bursting Trap being used on the War Banner, by the way. Full Fear goes on to Paperboy. He has to use his Trinket out of that. And I love the damage coming out from the Jungle Cleave right now. They need to probably make a swap, though, onto Paperboy out of that to cleave off his Vim and Vigor. And that looks like what Yaski is doing, trying to punish that a lot. And I mean, this game, it looks like they really have the strategy a lot more fluid and playing this game so much cleaner than the last one, I think.
Yeah, they're doing so well. They just forced the Ironbark so quickly. Now Cheesy Nacho dropping low. Ironbark barely coming back up, but they might not even get it off. Cheesy Nacho ends up falling. And like you say, this is just an infinitely better game for them than game one. They forced the overlap actually of the Ice Block and the Iron Bark basically 10 seconds into the game with Incarnation. And then the Incarnation gets matched, but like you say, if they land the crowd control and cleave down the Restoration Druid, especially with Limb and Vigor, is so hard to recover. And that's really the power of Jungle Cleave in a game like that, even on the map choice, able to just completely shred the enemy team.
Yeah, I honestly would argue that that map is probably better for jungle, just because you're kind of out in the open. So even if the Arcane Mage is trying to kite, like, the thing that happens is the warrior doesn't get as much pressure. And I actually think that was one thing that made that last game a little bit more awkward for Yas, right? He was having a bit of a harder time being able to push in and really get anything going because that warrior was kind of sitting on him for a lot of the game. But then they went to playing Undispellable Roots, and the map's bigger. So not only is he stuck in that, not able to peel even during the time that he's in that route, but also, I mean, he just gets kited super far away. So he's losing extra pressure on that map, I think, if they end up chasing that mage or the druid, the super mobile targets.
Yeah, and I mean, watching this is giving me flashbacks to the spring final where Reformed met Jamili and they just completely thrashed them for her. I mean, there was some close games.
I did the same thing, dude.
almost. But
no,
it's like, what? Oh yeah, that's true. In the NA Cup, that's true. Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like these jungle cleaves playing against like these mages, it's just such a squishy target for them. So low armor.
Yeah.
And you see these mages really getting thrashed down. And even if they do get the counter pressure, and credit where it was due, like counter pressure was definitely being had. It just you're on such a short timer against jungle. And now of course we see Mad Dogs 2-0 up, and this is the lower bracket. This isn't second chances anymore. If you lose this series, you are eliminated from the first cup. Mad Dogs, of course, looking to advance to that top 3, which is where they're posturing for. Actually, I believe this is the game for 4th place, right? So
yeah, this is the 4th place match.
Check it out.
I mean, I think you're right on that. It actually is really important that they have these mage compositions. I think if they don't, I don't think they actually have any options. With this being their only option, I think this is a really bad spot for them to be in. I mean, they're playing great as the WMD. I feel like I've seen really impressive performances, especially from the warrior coming out here. But I don't really think that there's that much they can do versus jungle. I mean, you don't want to play double mage. If you honestly have like mage druid into jungle right now, I don't think that's very favorable. I think that there's better things to pick, but that that is not one of them.
I've played Mage Druid Windwalker into jungle, and it's like, even with a Windwalker monk peels, it feels like the biggest struggle. You're just like playing to survive the whole game, and then maybe you one-shot someone at some point. That's kind of your game plan, which isn't a very solid game plan, but definitely with the warrior. I mean, Warbanner, by the way, we've commended him many times on this broadcast. He's been doing a great job of being disruptive, denying crowd control, and keeping Paperboy basically in the fight. But
yeah, no, he's
even so, it's been really hard for them. And I mean, the more game time Yosuke and Form Rage get together, because I mean, this is a new team. Like, these guys perhaps haven't played with each other so much. The more time they get together, the more synergy, the more tournament confidence as well. Because this is Form Rage's first time playing in these tournaments, as far as I'm aware.
And Form Rage also isn't even as experienced like in the high level scene as any of the other players. So like I don't know, he might have one rank 1, I think, or something similar to that. But you know, the other 3 on his team, I mean, they've been getting rank 1 season after season. So you know, the experience difference it's not even close yet. You know, but give him enough time, I think that he'll perform really well with this team. They're looking to be very strong together, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the perfect stomping grounds for it, right? Like, playing through that lower bracket, playing against some of these teams that, I mean, they're very, very good. I mean, we've commended them a lot, but they're not perhaps playing the strongest compositions into the jungle cleave. So it's something that they have the opportunity to make those mistakes and really grow as a team. We see now Yosuke trying to push in, getting offensive, still holding on to that true shot Aureus. Cheesy Nacho, once again, utilizing that pillar to line of sight the hunter first. Something that's actually a little bit different is that Form Rage actually hasn't used his Incarnation yet this game. So talk to me a little bit about that, since of course you play a lot of jungle. Why do you think they're holding on to their offensives a bit more this time?
I actually think the only reason is you want to use this when you actually have an opportunity to do a lot of damage. And I think they've been kind of getting kited and stalled out more. So I think it's actually better to be patient. Like right now, they had a position where the mage was right out in the open for him, and they were able to just kind of sit there and get as much offensive pressure onto them, especially if they had a go where the mage maybe wanted to push in and do something. So that's really when you want to use those cooldowns. Otherwise, I mean, it just all depends on how the enemy team plays, right? Like, you don't necessarily want to use it if they're just in a position that you can't really do a bunch of free damage onto them, if that makes sense. You don't want to just use it just because you got your CC. You want to actually make sure you can follow up with the damage, because if you can't follow up with all that damage, you're okay just getting the CC chain and just letting your consistent pressure just kind of go through. There's no reason to pop the burst.
Yep, and a lesson in jungle from the Dill himself there, as we do see another lesson in jungle being thrown down at Cheesy Nacho, who had to use his ice block in the exchange. Ironbark also traded out, so now you really got to look at the defensive cooldowns that are really waning on the side of Paperboy. No Trinket, no Ironbark, no ice block. One more crowd control is looking.
Yeah, they have true shot. So if Yas catches the mage in the open, I think he'll be able to end the game. But a beautiful Stormbolt from Warbanner, by the way, actually able to delay Yas from getting that go right there. Oh, that was
killing
really
him as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He
so
dropped very low.
If he was not relentless, he would have died right there, for sure. He actually just barely got out of the Stormbolt in time. That extra reduction for that CC is what kept him alive. And another great Warbanner coming out from Warbanner, by the way, and then they go for the half trap out of that with that Wyvern. But Yas is holding on to that true shot. I think he really wants a window where he can connect onto Cheesy Nacho, who's been line of sighting so much this entire game. His positioning has been phenomenal, I think, and he's been also stealing a lot of the shields, trying to do what he can to stay alive. So that has helped him out so much in this game. But again, he has no block left, so they really just need one go to just connect onto him. And I think this is going to be it. They have that pressure going out onto Paperboy and Cheesy Nacho. Yas is using that true shot, being able to hit both of them at this point, and this is where the pressure gets too high for them to deal with. I think they have the fear, they have the CC going out onto Oxygen in them, but I mean, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to recover at this point. On the other hand, Oxygen is about half mana. They do need to end out this game a little bit soon here, but I feel like the pressure is so in their favor at this moment. They have Incarn coming in about a minute. If Yas is able to get another CC, especially with them getting pressure onto Warbanner, by the way, I think this game will end. They have a full bash here. They need to follow it up with the trap. They get the Wyvern Sting right there, force the Trinket from Paperboy. That's going to be a really good spot for them, considering Incarn's coming up in 38 seconds. So for that next bursting Wyvern Sting, they're not going to have anything, and that's going to be the Incarnation. So they really need to be careful here. Use the Mass Invis during that trap right there. Cheesy Nacho just going to stay safe. He has the Arcane Power up, trying to get that extra damage onto Yaski and Oxygen, but really not going to happen too much. They're going to stay at full HP, but he is getting a great CS onto Oxygen right there. And I think they're just trying to play the delay game here. I mean, they are running his mana here. So if they can survive, we already seen the amount of burst they were able to get out onto Yaski. I think they're actually really holding on for this game, trying to just play for their lives, knowing that they could get knocked out at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. You can tell everything's on the line for these guys, but Ironbark's down. That was the Park skin. That was the artifact coming out.
He's kicked here.
One CC can do it. We have the Incarnation being popped now. No counterplay. Here comes the Wyvern. Full trap to follow up or DR. There should be a fear off that as well as a stun.
I think the temp shield's going to save him.
They dropped the ball a little bit. They don't get the
No, I think they were able to stay safe. That temporal shield actually saved him, especially because he has that Tree of Life, so that's going to help him recover. I think the pressure actually needs to go into Paperboy a little bit just to punish that Fim still, because with the Druid playing that Tree of Life, he actually doesn't have the damage reduction you would have of, say, Bear form. So if he is in that tree form, you kind of can do a little bit of extra damage, and that's something that I think people sometimes ignore a little bit when a druid's playing that, and they could get that extra punish here. But now they have that full maim into a full trap right here on Cheesy Nacho. If Cheesy Nacho doesn't kite, he surely is going to go down here. I mean, he has temp in 5 seconds. Paperboy really is struggling here. I mean, he gets kind of that half bursting shot, but they're doing everything they can. Trinket Temporal Shield being used from Cheesy Nacho and the Ironbark. I mean, there's a CS going down to Oxygen. They're doing what they can to delay in this game. And Yas is getting pressured here, but I mean, they just need to hold on for 20 seconds. And I think if they actually live to the second block, this game's over. I mean, it could be anyone's game at this point. There's the full bash. They're getting the pressure onto Paperboy. Has to use the Bark Skin on himself. They have a lot of damage going on to him. Gets into Bear Form. Frenzy Regenerates himself, but Cheesy Nacho is still getting pressured. Has 10 seconds until his block. I don't think he's going to make it. There's the full clone onto Former Zone. Great play from Paperboy. Trying to do what he can to peel. Full Sheep goes down onto Oxygen. They're doing everything they can to peel this jungle creep. And Oxygen has their Trinket. I mean, they're doing what they can to hold on, and they do have that block back up. But I mean, the pressure could go onto Paperboy, cut on the full maim. I think he could die through that maim, and he is going to use that Trinket, stay in that Bear form. But now they swap it up, get the Wyvern onto Paperboy. Full Rake Stun goes down to the Cheesy Nacho, but I think he's going to be able to live now. And there's the true shot backup from Yas. But now at this point, it seems like they don't have that much of a kill window onto him. Oxygen is almost and they need to do what they can to survive. Use that block and temporal shield at the same time. They need to try to recover. This is their last little bit they have left in the tank. I mean, 10% dampening at this point. They need to do what they can to survive, but there's that Shadow Mail breaks on onto Paperboy. True shot by Yaski. Paperboy could go down. He has the Iron Mark available, trying to do what he can, but I don't think he can make it. I mean, he has no hots on him. He's doing what he can to survive, trying to cast this regrowth. Gets caught in the half maim. He's holding on for life, being so greedy with this Iron Box, trying to save it for Cheesy Nacho, but they still are surviving at this point.
Yeah, it's not just temps and dampening, it's game and match point for LFG Strats. If they do lose this one, they are eliminated from the tournament, and they're putting up a valiant effort. But will it be enough? Cheesy Nacho now pops the Arcane Power, trying to get aggressive over onto Yoski, who's dropping low. Pain Suppression traded out by Oxygen, who is low on mana. If they can turn that into an advantage, we actually see the Polymorph coming out now. They've got the crowd control. Arcane Power expires, but they still have the damage. Yoski dropping low. No follow-up crowd control there, and Cheesy Nacho with a good temporal shield. I wonder how much it's going to heal for. Not too
14% dampening
coming out. It's looking not great. He blinks back into the pillar, but he will end up dying. And I mean, you got to give big credit to all three member on LFG Strats. We talked about War Banner, by the way, with some great peels. Paperboy coming out with some amazing healing at the end of that one. And Cheesy Nacho was slipping and sliding around that pillar with some great kiting patterns. But at the end of the day, Mad Dog were too strong. Yoski, of course, Form Rage on that Feral Druid. And I mean, hey, sometimes you just get a little bit outplayed in that last one. I think Mad Dog definitely with a strong 3-0 victory here, and that's going to move them into the top 4.